All right, we are going live and we're going to talk about a micronutrient profile. So let me share my screen. So here's the micronutrient profile. This is from Vibrant, but many labs have similar tests that have varying names. And so first thing we're going to see again is an introduction and some methodology and some interpretation issues. And then we're going to talk about the summary. So in the summary, it's going to tell you about bone, joint, and muscle health, then cardiovascular health, and give you sort of a gauge. And then along with the gauge, it's going to tell you why the gauge isn't deep in the green. In this case, it's because of low vitamin K. Down here, it's because of high isoleucine and leucine and moderate omega-3 index and low vitamin K. And so on as we go through all of these general categories. So this is just a snapshot to give us a little bit of understanding of what's going on. Then as we go through, we find, let me go back up here, this arachidonic acid to EPA. So in a primary, a major omega-6 to a major omega-3. That ratio is high. Normal is 0.25 to 10 and 0.9, so it's 33, so it's high. So that means when it's high, there's more arachidonic acid compared to EPA. So physiological function, how it gets depleted or how it gets out of balance, clinical manifestations, food sources, supplementation options. The omega-3 index, I like to see this above 10. The normal range is 8 to 12.65, but around 10 is a good number. This one's 5. So this is basically the percentage of omega-3 fatty acids in red blood cell membranes. So tells us a little bit about what it is and what it does. So anything that's abnormal on this test is going to show up in the summary and be in here. So again, omega-3 index, some more information about it. Here's cysteine that is low. And again, we're still in the index and it's going to, or excuse me, the summary, and it's going to tell us about this nutrient. But this is only a piece of the way I think about this. So we're going to scroll through this whole summary, and you can see, like, here's vitamin K and its physiological function, how it gets depleted, clinical manifestations, food sources, supplement options, and so on. So we're seeing it, vitamin K1, vitamin K2, so it's very complete. And then we get to the nutrients themselves. And there's a specific way I like to look at this. This is presented many different ways. So here's a tabular form where we're seeing the white blood cell count, the neutrophil count, the lymphocyte count. We're seeing the fatty acids, omega-3s and omega-6s. We're seeing the amino acids and all of these things. But down here further, just keep going. We're just running through. Oh, well, that's embarrassing because it didn't show what I wanted it to show. I don't know why it's not in this one. So instead, we'll do it this way. So it is here. I just like to see it in a different format. I guess they changed the format. Sorry about that. So what we're seeing in all of these, so let's go back up here. All of these are cellular. So it tells you right here that it's cellular. The lymphocyte count, neutrophil count, white blood cell count, and then all of the fatty acids are all cellular. The amino acids are serum and occasionally cellular. So as an example here, glutamine is measured in both the serum and the cells. And what I do is I look at the relative position. The units are different, but I look at the relative position of the nutrient. And in this case, we can see that the serum, relative position of serum is perhaps slightly above the relative position of cellular, and it should be the other way. You know, your intracellular levels of most of these nutrients should be higher, but they should be at least equal. So if they're not equal, and this isn't egregiously different, but if they were, and we'll look for others that are egregiously different, then we wonder about it. So these are leucine and isoleucine. And then we get down here to serine. Again, serum is higher than cellular. Valine is only in the serum, but calcium, serum, and cellular, they're close to equal. Chromium is only seen in serum, copper, serum, and cellular. So the copper serum, again, significantly higher than the cellular on this relative kind of observation. So when we're seeing a nutrient that should be an intracellular nutrient lower inside the cells than it is outside the cells, it tells us something about the physiology of absorption. And so this may be a person. Here's magnesium, serum magnesium versus cellular magnesium. Magnesium is an intracellular mineral. So the fact that it's higher in the serum than in the cell makes one think that there may be challenges getting the magnesium in. Same thing with manganese, same thing to a lesser degree with zinc. Carnitine, similar problem here. So this person may not have overt deficiency, but there may be insufficiencies or inefficiencies moving nutrients from the serum compartment into the cellular compartment, because often that is an energy-dependent process and may represent a broad energy issue, like a mitochondrial issue, a failure of energy production and energy utilization. So that's what we're seeing here. Now, here we see the serum level very high, or outside the normal range, whereas the cellular component is upper mid normal range. Well, you might think, well, upper mid normal range, that's fine. Except why is there so much in the serum? All right. So again, the functional question is why. So we're wondering about these things. And we're just seeing this all over the place. So here's vitamin K. Serum level is lower normal, but the cellular level is low. Well, we at least want this in the normal range. And if that means that because there's energy metabolism issues preventing this, do we need to push this into the high normal range and so that we can have the cellular numbers into at least the low normal range? Same thing here with vitamin K2. Potassium, sodium, and then that's the end of the test. So the thing I wanted to point out, and they used to have another way of depicting it, which I thought was more obvious to show, but they've taken that off of their printout, obviously. So I wanted to emphasize the serum and cellular components and how, if there's a discrepancy, asking the question why, what does that mean? All right, thanks a lot. There is the nutrient profile. And again, it's bigger than just, oh, they're low in this or high in that. So in this case, the cellular, if you just drew a standard test for nutrients, you would find that the serum vitamin K2 is just fine. But what about the intracellular K2? It's low. So we're looking deeper at nutrients and thinking, well, maybe I need to push vitamin K2 into the upper normal range in order to get cellular K2 into the normal range. Or maybe I'm thinking, what's happening energetically that this isn't getting concentrated in the cells? An example of this is vitamin C and the adrenal glands. You may have as much as 1,000 times more vitamin C inside the adrenal glands than you do in the serum. All right, hopefully this is helpful. Have a great day.